The following is a VSW feature presentation. As always, please be a reminder when listening to this Wolfcast, viewer discretion is advised. Oh, it's Beantown Sports Wolfcast. Oh, happy belated Halloween, everybody. It's November 1st. Enough with the spooky shit. Let's listen to some Christmas music. Just kidding. It is time for a Beantown Sports Wolfcast. The Patriots take on the Los Angeles Chargers on a Halloween spooktacular day. Will the Pats get their first big win of the season? Will Mac Jones have the confidence to lead this team? Will they get shredded by the run game? Please find out and stick with the Beantown Sports Wolfcast. Come on, guys, cut it out. Either hung over from the parties on Saturday, or you were celebrating all that candy and the Patriots finally win a big one. Did they? Calm down, everybody. I appreciate this ovation. Let's get back to business, shall we? So the Patriots come into this game with a 3-4 record, and the Los Angeles Chargers are fresh off a bye week with Justin Hebert and Austin Eckler in the game. This is a huge challenge for the Patriots because they're known not only for their high-flying deep ball offense, they're known for shredding you with the run game, whether it's Austin Eckler. The Chargers historically, whether they were in San Diego or LA, always been known for a run game, whether it's LaDainian Tomlinson in the past or Melvin Gordon. Who can forget LaDainian Tomlinson? You had him on your team, you were going to your finals in the fantasy team. Unlike Derrick Henry with a broken foot, I thought he would carry me, but I got to get over that. But this is what Wolfcast, it's therapy to me. But I will live, I will survive. Anyways, long story short, that the Chargers have historically been known to have a high-powered run game. Coming into this game, not only could Austin Eckler run, but he's very underrated because in PPR leagues, points per reception, he's very valuable because he always catches the ball too. He's that slot receiver, kind of like what James White was on the third down back, what they're trying to turn Brandon Bolden into take his place, the Patriots, as he had a monster game last week at Jets. I've been busy with some issues, so I haven't gotten to recap the Cowboys and the Jets blowout. Sorry to say, but the Patriots almost beat a self-proclaimed America's team that always talks about the past, similar to how wrestling fans talk about the Attitude Era, or the Yankee fans talking about the 90s and 2000s. That's how it is, and I hope we're not that way with the Patriots, talking about the past 2 decades with Brady spoiling us. Now he has a new kryptonite, the regular season New Orleans Saints, as he threw a pick six and lost against Trevor Siemian, backup for Jameis Winston, who tore his ACL yesterday while this game was going on, because the Pats Chargers were, believe it or not, the single-header game on CBS. So coming into this game, people would hope that Mac Jones would be able to keep up. He didn't have the greatest game yesterday, but he did pass for over 300 yards for the statistics, which wasn't bad, but unfortunately the receiver game didn't get going, as Damian Harris did have a 23 carries for 80 yards offense, but the play calling was kind of messed up yesterday because the defense's play calling was Steve Belichick making those memeable facial expressions, man. Maybe he's drooling over his Reese peanut butter cups in the locker room, or his kids' M&Ms to have later from all the trick-or-treating. But anyways, this guy's always drooling over something. He needs to focus on the play calling, as Damian Harris should have had the ball more. Yeah, 23 carries for 80 yards is all. But they need to give Stevenson or Bolden more carries, especially that you don't have James White. And they got to find a way to activate all their running backs, if they're allowed to, split up the carries because the Pats can really educate with this run game. I know last year's plan, they tried to focus on Cam Newton's mobile ability. It actually worked for this Chargers team last year. As Hebert got destroyed, they won 55-0, pick sixes all around last year. Newton actually rushed for plenty of touchdowns that game. And will this be a coming out party? That we got two former Chargers on this team. Tight end Hunter Henry, who became Mac Jones' clutch go-to player in this beginning of the season, besides Jacoby Myers, the tight end, trying to recreate the duo with him and Jonnu Smith, like the Hernandez-Gronkowski duo. And you got Adrian Phillips, who filled in since Gilmore's not on the team anymore, but he was injured anyways. J.C. Jackson, I believe, played. But the Pats' cornerbacks have been unbelievable catching the deep ball since it's the one thing they have gotten better at is people don't throw the deep ball too much against them because they tend to be really good about it. And it's showing. Leading the way for the Patriots yesterday in receptions was you had Bourne and Myers tied. I think Mac Jones is finally spreading the ball to Aguilar and Bourne. Bourne's the better short pass guy, and I think Aguilar's known for a deep ball, one-and-done type of guy. We got to make him into a better receiver. And not the shocker of this is that N'Keal Harry caught not just one, but two balls, and he caught it, and he almost didn't catch the ball that went out of bounds to get this game-winning drive to the Patriots that set up a field goal play. Well, let's go through the scoring plays. It started off as an Austin Eckler huge run yesterday, which kind of scared me a little bit because Austin Eckler has a strategy to shred off defenses. But the Patriots answered back with storming through a drive, catching with a Damian Harris 1-yard run, and it was a tie game. And in the second quarter, you had a huge burn play by not Eckler, but their backup, Justin Jackson, rushing for over 75 yards. The last time the Chargers did that to the Patriots was Melvin Gordon in the playoff game we went to for 80 yards, second longest in history. And that set up a goal line play from Hebert to not else Keenan Allen, who's been not only the captain, he should be an all-pro receiver as high as Devontae Adams and this new rookie for Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, and Tyreek Hill. He should be up there, but he hasn't had the targets, believe it or not, like he usually has. And Nick Folk set up a field goal, 2 field goals to end it, making it 14-3. The one guy who I'm very impressed with, I'm surprised he didn't get cut in the preseason, was veteran Nick Folk. He missed some extra points, but he's came, besides that one Tampa Bay missed 56-yard field goal in the downpouring rain in Foxborough, which you can't really blame him for that one. He's been outstanding as a field goal. That's what we need. And then halftime, a lot of people thought this Patriots team left too many points on the board, and I agree. And at the end, they tend to open their pass coverage to zone too much and had the lack of pass rushing. But you had Nick Folk kicked the field goal to give them the lead, and then Dustin Hopkins gave a field goal for the Chargers. So offenses were slowed down. We all thought this game was over, that Hebert was going to shred offenses with Mike Williams or Austin Eckler and even Keenan Allen, but he did. But Adrian Phillips, not just one, but two, this was the clutch play of the game. Former Los Angeles Charger had a 26-yard reception return, and Mac Jones passed to Jacoby Myers for a 2-point conversion. How the hell has this guy not had a touchdown reception yet? That's got to change. And the Pats were finally able to run the ball too much and kill 2 minutes off, and it had the field goal 27-17 over the Chargers, which is really good because that way you have 2 possessions scored. And they only had to score a touchdown, but they almost blew it when Justin Hebert was threw a 24-yard pass to Joshua Palmer, their 4th receiver, I believe, when 2 guys of the Patriots failed to cover him too well, and they gave up that touchdown. They still had a chance because with 40 seconds left, all they had to do was recover the onside kick, but Hunter Henry, the former Charger, did recover the onside kick, and that's all she wrote. The Pats had their first big win of the season. Which, yeah, they're 4-4 and lost a lot of home games. But, Pete, this is a hidden stat. They're only one game behind the last playoff spot. And they got, believe it or not, folks, you're going to be shocked. They have a 3-1 conference record in the AFC. Holy shit, right? Actually, 4-1. Because they beat the Jets twice and the Texans, obviously the worst team. But the Jets are weird. They show up against good teams, beating the frickin' Bungles yesterday. And they beat the Titans earlier when they had Derrick Henry. Going forward, they won't when the Pats play them. So, it is kind of a big deal and shocking, this statistic. All the Patriots' losses besides Miami were NFC teams, including the Saints and the Tom Brady and the Bucs and the Cowboys. They're all NFC teams. That's going to be a really good statistic when they're fighting for either seeding or the last playoff spot. They could be fighting for the division because the Bills still got the Bucs and the Saints coming right up later in the year. So you never know, folks. We may play Buffalo twice, including a Monday night game, and the day after Christmas, which I hope I get to go to. Could be really good for Wolf. It could be time. Maybe they'll be back in the playoffs. I told you guys, they're not as bad as people think. They're a young team, getting so many new offensive guys fit in Belichick's system. The defensive play calling has to be a lot better. They're outstanding at covering the deep ball. That you got to be able to pass rush the guys really well. But one guy who didn't do anything, which the offensive line was able to help Mac Jones, but he didn't do too well, even though he had over 300 yards. They kept Joey Bosa out of sacking him and getting big defensive plays thanks to Trent Brown, the left tackle. And everyone seems to notice that every time the Chargers have a home game, it's always dominated by opposing fans. And, of course, the Patriots bring their fans. Sunny Southern California, SoCal, brand new, nice-ass stadium, including side jumbotrons no one's really seen before. They built that damn thing. It looks beautiful in there, and it was like a home game for the Patriots. It might have made a huge difference because the Chargers are like the Clippers to the Rams, like the Clippers are to the Lakers, the redheaded stepchild, which people probably dressed as and freaked out little brats all over getting candy. That's another conversation. But this was really good for the Patriots. It was a great win. I'm really satisfied with the win. Of course, if you told us 3 years ago that the Patriots would be 4-4 and tied for the last playoff spot, people would think it's a losing season. Some people maybe still think that and hopped off the Tampa Bay bandwagon to join Gronk and Brady. But Myers really needs to get a touchdown pass, man. Got a 2-point conversion, but that's got to be better. And someone who's having a great season is defensive end Christian Barmore. What an outstanding draft pick. Eat, blocks, gets sacks, hits backs. Hey, that rhymes. But I was shocked the Pats had a 10. I knew they would pull this game off, but a lot of people thought it'd be a close game. Well, the Chargers would just blow them out. But that didn't happen because you didn't know what kind of Patriots team they really are with their 3-4 record. As they have had close games. They really should have beaten Miami if it wasn't for that Damian Harris fumble. And I think he fumbled again. The running backs have to hold the damn ball better so they don't leave too many points in if they want to compete for a playoff spot. They have to hold on to that damn ball. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis in the past always didn't let go. Neither did Corey Dillon. But the Pats haven't lost to the Chargers since Brady's ACL injury year. Believe it or not, when the team was in San Diego and Matt Castle was the starting. Back when they got destroyed, they beat them up every year, including 2 playoff wins. One when they were in first year in Los Angeles. They had Phillip Rivers up the helm, Melvin Gordon, and Keenan Allen that they put up points with a 12-4. Pats were struggling a few years ago, but they kicked their asses, and they've never been the same team since, it sounds like. Phillip Rivers and Antonio Cromartie's not on the team anymore. Neither is Lights Out Sean Merriman. But everyone thinks of the LaDainian Tomlinson days with this Charger team and Antonio Gates. But like I said, LaDainian Tomlinson always had 2-3 touchdowns a game. guys aren't replicating it today. Not like Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook. There's a lot of good running backs in the league, don't get me wrong, but no one was like LaDainian Tomlinson in the regular season. This has always been beef since the team was in San Diego. It took me till this year to call them San Diego, but I still call the other team the Oakland Raiders, even though they're in Vegas. It's so hard to call them that. Speaking of, they're in first place in the AFC West. Who would have thought the Pats would have a same or better record than the Kansas City Chiefs this year? Holy cow. Last place in the West, the Broncos are 4-4, always winning 3 in a row, having no offense and downgrading. And they traded Von Miller today to the other LA team, the Los Angeles Rams. Oof, with Aaron Donald, that's going to be nasty. But anyways, it was a really great win for the Pats. And before I stop and talk more about the Pats and the future outlook, me and the VSW, the Wolf, would like to give his condolences to one of my favorite broadcasters, passed away with a 15 battle with lung cancer. Rem Dog himself, the voice of the Boston Red Sox on Nesson, funny color man, Jerry Remy. Him and Orsello used to dance all the time, laugh at what Manny Ramirez did in a dugout. And I'm really sad, and a lot of us are really emotional in Boston. Like Bill Belichick says, half of our fans are Red Sox fans and Rem Dog fans, so I have to give a tribute. I will do a tribute Wolfcast this week instead of starting next week. I will cover the Bruins and Celtics once a week, and I'll try to do previews of the Patriots, definitely a recap. It was a really big win. Hopefully people are excited for this team like I am. Well, I've always been confident, but Adam Phillips had the game ball, and the Pats are a 500 team. Who would ever thought they almost be there after losing 4 home games? But this team's young, and they're only going to get better. Just have to work on our offense, carrying the deep ball, and the play calling on defense. Steve Belichick's got to stop drooling with these faces and make better play calling. Same goes for Josh McDaniels as the get this Mac Jones kid more confidence, spread the ball to other running backs so Harris doesn't get burnt out. Like you see running backs like Cook, McCaffrey, and Henry get hurt and can't stay healthy. The Pats do have a great running game, maybe execute it a little more. So I like to see next week we got the Carolina Panthers, and Christian McCaffrey might be back from injury, so that's going to be... But they got Sam Darnold, who always sees ghosts and always has a problem with the Bill Belichick defense, so that's a good thing. And we got the Cleveland banged-up Browns coming up. Maybe the Browns are will come back, because the Detroit Lions have wailed up back, baby. They haven't won a damn game all year since that Stafford and Goff trade really hurt that team. Poor people in Detroit wearing grocery paper bags on their heads again. Not a pretty sighting, just like some gross zombies in Halloween scaring the hell out of little kids. As it's November 1st, we should be listening to Christmas music. Some people get ticked off. Personally, it's too early for me. As the VSW will be covering wrestling, we had our hometown Chaotic Wrestling show, so if you're a sports fan and you used to watch the Attitude Era, I'd recommend checking out the flagship promotion, Chaotic Wrestling, our recap, and watch the show on Twitch. And when they hit your area, they're trying to tour the Middlesex area and the Boston area more from their typical low bass atmosphere. Come support these guys. We also were in AEW in Boston the other night, so we got plenty of clips on our YouTube channel of shorts, including Bryan Danielson, formerly Daniel Bryan, facing off against Eddie Kingston, which might have been the best Rampage match to date. We also had CM Punk competing on Dynamite, and the Elite of Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, the Saviors of Wrestling, take on the Dark Order in a Ghostbusters costume. I don't see no ghosts. And Adam Page came out as a marshmallow. We were at a very busy week in the VSW, which kept me from doing Wolfcast. So we are a wrestling company. I'm just trying to make it to regional sports too, and I'm covering all the Boston teams. So I highly recommend you check out. And the Wolf appeared as a ring announcer for KPW a few weeks ago, as that footage should be rolling out. Keep an eye on the Versace Stoner and the VSW and more as the Patriots look to have momentum on their side and hopefully get into the playoffs and maybe even compete for the division. I am the Wolf signing off, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on the VSW podcast. The Wolf is signing out. We would like to thank you for watching the following VSW podcast presentation. As always, like, subscribe our Facebook page, our Twitter handles, and most importantly, our YouTube page. Please give us some watch on our good videos, and we hope you have had a happy Halloween, and see you then.